YouTube Power Hour podcast. I'm your host, Erika Vieira, and this week I had the chance to sit down with Shallon Lester. Now, Shallon is a former magazine editor, two-time author who has leveraged the power of celebrity with her no-nonsense relationship and sex advice. And in this interview, she talks about how she's able to consistently get over 4 million to sometimes 4.5 million views on her channel every single month, which is insane. If you're new here, welcome. Make sure you subscribe. Every single week I sit down with a different YouTuber where we pull back the curtain and reveal what it really takes to be successful on YouTube. And I want you to comment below. Do you have a YouTube channel? Are you a YouTube creator? Tell me a little bit about yourself and your channel. Enjoy this interview. Mwah. Well, hello, Shallon. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. Like, I'm geeking out.
Yay! I'm really excited to have you on. I mean, I love what you're doing. I think you're doing so many really interesting things on YouTube. So I really want to dive into that.
Yeah.
But first, why don't we just get people familiar with who you are and share what inspired you to first get onto YouTube?
So I used to have an MTV reality show, and it was like a tree falling in the forest. I feel like no one watched it but like me and my mom. But it
was on MTV?
Yeah, it was on MTV. We were on Between the Hills and the City. Like, that was our time slot. Yeah. It was called Downtown Girls. It was on in, I think, 2010. And it was basically like a real life Sex in the City, and I was the Carrie. It was like all city and no sex. It was kind of boring. But like, I was talking about how I was like a dating writer for Glamour magazine, but like in real life, like my own dating life was in shambles. And girls would like email me and they would like DM me and they'd be like, I'm going through this. I was like, me too. And so I was like connecting with girls and I was like, like it would be better to share all this information like on a larger scale. And then I got approached by this channel called howcast.com, and they do like tutorials on everything from like how to change a tire to how to tie a tie to how to waltz, whatever. And so they tapped me to do a kissing series. So I made like 25 videos making out with this male model all day long.
Oh, wow. That's not too bad.
Not too bad. And he's like a really brilliant stand-up comedian, Michael Blaustein. Check him out. But they went like super viral, like 35 million views each.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, okay, maybe I'll start my own channel. So that kind of really was the push I needed to get into the YouTube space.
Is that Howcast, is that still around? Like,
yeah, I think it is. I think it is. They're still doing content. I wish I'd do another series with them. It was really fun.
So
doesn't want to make out with the dude.
Yeah, I mean, like a male model. I mean, yeah. And get paid? That's no brainer.
Oh no, I didn't get paid.
Oh, you didn't get paid?
No,
okay.
No,
okay.
Not a great deal on my part. Not a good deal.
So it's just for
big learning experience. On that. Yep.
Yeah.
Don't do things for free, people. Don't do it for free.
No, because then they got, you said 25 million views?
Yeah. On like one video, not aggregate, on one. If I had made a penny a video, a penny a view, I would be a multimillionaire.
Yeah. It's insane. I know. Yeah. Lesson learned, right?
Lesson learned.
Especially in this day and age, and like the digital age, it's just like when you give away your rights, it's like your likeness can be used everywhere and anywhere, and people can be making a lot of money off of it.
Right. But it's like you're young and you're like, well, who would I be to turn down this opportunity? It's like you're betting against yourself. You're assuming things are not going to go well. It's not going to be successful. You always have to assume, if this went viral, how would I want to be compensated for this? If this went viral, like, would I be okay having done this for free?
Yeah. And not even that, but like, what is your time worth? Like, even the time that it took you, to do that, whatever it was, go to the studio, film it.
Absolutely.
Or if you're creating your own content, for a lot of, the people listening, they're creating their own content. They're like, but like, they're a big channel and I get exposure and stuff. But it's like, okay, you do have to kind of assess it. For some circumstances, it could be good. You could get a ton of traffic from it. It could be good, but sometimes it's not. So you really have to figure it out. Is it worth your time?
Right.
So then when was it that you started your channel?
I started my channel in like 2012 or something like that, but it was very sporadic. I wasn't really like paying that close of attention to it. But then last year I sort of decided like, okay, YouTube full time is like the big dream. And I was like definitely more regular with it in the last like year or two. But then last year I was like, okay, I'm putting my intention towards this. And then it really took off in, I guess, February or March is when the big shift happened. I was able to go pro.
Yeah, this year, 2019.
Yeah.
So I know if we want to kind of show people, I mean, here you have videos from 12 years ago.
God.
Oh my gosh, look at that. 12 years ago, 11 years ago, and then 7 years ago.
Yeah, it was, the channel must be even older. I know, before, what's a thumbnail? Who knows?
Yeah.
Not me.
Yeah. Yeah, you were just using the screen, the whatever YouTube picked you. You had a few thumbnails. So you've been on YouTube for some time, but like you said, there was a shift that happened where you decided to really make a go for it. What happened there? Why did you say, hey, do you know what? Now I'm actually going to take this seriously.
So I was an editor at Star Magazine for like 7 years, and until I got to the point that I was acting editor-in-chief, was deputy editor, and then I got laid off.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the magazine industry is like that. I don't know a single person who has worked in New York City journalism that hasn't gotten laid off or like just barely made it through. And so being at Star for so long, I saw 14 rounds of layoffs. So I was always very aware that like death was going to come for me too. And I was really unhappy there. I was really stagnant, but it was like, I couldn't leave. It was like a toxic boyfriend. You're like, well, I don't want to be single. So getting laid off, I was like, it's embarrassing and it's insulting. You're like, how
me?
Yeah. I don't like you. You don't dump me. Like, that's how
I
felt. Like, how dare you dump me? But I was still like applying for other jobs and I was like freelancing a bunch. But then I had the time to devote to YouTube. Like I had the time to crank out 2, 3, 4 videos a week and like really get on top of breaking news. And the first video I did that kind of blew up was how to spot a liar, red flags from Jordan Woods's Red Table Talk. It was right after that whole thing happened. And I remember watching the Red Table Talk and I was like, and I saw what I thought to be a lot of hints of deception and everything. And so I posted it and it got like, I don't know, 100,000 views in 4 days, which was big for me at the time. Huge for me. And I was like, okay, maybe this could be something I do for a living. Because until then I was making like, I don't know, $150 a month off YouTube. And in March I made 5,000. So I was like, wait a minute, this could be viable. And so from that point, I like really stepped away from journalism. And I'm like, why go work in an office and go through more layoffs one day? You know, it'll happen again. And why do this to myself when I could be my own boss? So that's when I was able to go pro. And so never look back.
Yeah. And I was going to ask you, like, I think it's interesting that you made that decision to not find another job. Like, not just jump right into it. Because a lot of people want to have that safety net and kind of be in that world where they know that income is coming. And you just said, hey, I'm assuming you had some savings or something that could keep you afloat for a little bit. No? No,
not really.
No?
Living in New York City, that's kind of like, saving is not really a thing. But like, I was freelancing like here and there. But I was relying on YouTube. And the only other time I've ever like lost a job in my life was I was like a waitress and like I lost my job. I was like 22 and I had been in the process of applying to get my first editorial job in magazines. And I was like, I am getting this goddamn magazine job. Like this was going to work because it has to. And like when
failure is not an option.
It's not an option. And I really think like especially if you're doing something like YouTube where you are 100% in control of everything. I'm sorry, someone keeps texting me and it keeps flashing up. It's making me insane. Stop. Like,
you're just too popular.
I'm never this popular. It's like one word at a time. I'm like, can you please don't?
Yeah.
So yeah, especially if it's something like YouTube where you can get up every morning and you can pump that content out and you can spend all day making better thumbnails and shoring up your website and responding to fans and everything like that. Like failure is not an option. But I mean, I say that because I didn't fail. Yeah. You know, had I failed, I'd be like, well, this happens. You
wouldn't be here.
I wouldn't be here.
Talking about
you know what? Sometimes it's not that people are failing. It's just the timing isn't quite right. Maybe that's not exactly where you should be at that particular point in your life. So you can't think like, well, I tried once, I failed. I can never go back to this dream. Keep going back.
Especially if it's something that's nagging at you. And I like what you mentioned about timing. I'm a really big believer in timing. There's seasons in life where things just make sense and things just don't. And I've experienced that being, having children and certain things make sense, certain things don't. But when you have that desire, like you said, if it's still bugging you and maybe you tried something, there's something in you that's just telling you go back and try it again.
Right. Right. And it has to be something that's comfortable. You know, like when I was still at Star, people would be like, just leap and the net will appear. I was like, that is bad advice. That is not true. You know, like that's how people end up homeless.
Yeah.
Like, so it has to be a comfortable enough leap, and you have to have backup plans. Like I was still applying to jobs. It's like, well, I don't know. Like I had a good month this month. I had a good month this month. Maybe this is just a 2-month bubble and then I got to go back into corporate America. But then there did sort of reach a tipping point where I was like, okay, knock on wood, this seems to be like a thing. And that was kind of when I got signed to my management company, that I was like, okay, other people professionally believe in me. So like, I guess I can like make this happen. But it was a few scary months for sure. Sure.
Yeah. Just because one video goes viral, that doesn't mean they're all going to go viral either.
No. And it's really important to not be like, it's just because they loved me. It's like, well, yes, but it's also you were capitalizing on trending things. You had your keywords right. Like you had content that was tailored to both sides of the argument, you know, like, or maybe not. Maybe you just were staunchly in one category and people like that. So it's important to like break down like what did drive people there.
Yeah.
Not just a pretty face.
Exactly. And to be like self-aware enough to know like what it is, like not be delusional, think like, well, I'm just amazing and whatever. Like, like I like what you said. It's like, break it down. Like, especially if you have a video go viral, like figure it out. And a lot of people, what's really interesting is I've talked to like hundreds, you know, on this show, a lot of people who have reached success, they actually, a lot of them don't even know why. Some people are like, I don't know. But then a lot of people, you know, it's a mix. Some people are like, I don't know. It's because I'm myself and this and that. But, you know, I'm looking at it saying, well, I can tell you why, right? And then some people, sounds like yourself, it's like a little bit more strategic with it.
Right. Because if you can't anticipate why you've achieved a good thing, you won't be able to anticipate bad things. Like, you got to know the first rule of war. I love, like, the art of war.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's influenced, like, military strategies influenced my career strategy. But it's like the first thing you got to do is not only know who the other party is, you got to know what you're bringing to the table on your side, what's in your inventory, what's in your arsenal. So if you don't know your shortcomings, mine is like design, graphic design and technology.
Me
I don't
too.
do
That's
any
mine.
cuts.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Me too. I hate it.
I hate it. I don't want to learn about it. So it's like, I need to make the money that I can outsource it. Because
100%.
That's it. And that's why I don't do edits in my video. I have no cuts at all. I do it in one take. I don't repeat anything. I don't film it again because I literally don't know how.
Yeah.
So,
I noticed that.
I try to work that to my advantage, you know. I'm like, my brain has to make this work. So yeah, you have to know your shortcomings and try to turn them into strengths, or at least be able to anticipate the downsides.
So the first video, let me go back to your to the screen here so we can see this. So the first video that really took off, you said, was the Jordan, the interview there. And then that was 7 months ago. We're going deep in the,
we're going so far.
Deep in the archives, but I'm trying to get more recent to like right before that happened. Because I noticed when I was studying your channel, like a shift where you were talking a lot about like relationships and dating, and then all of a sudden, like around here, the Kardashian drama, you switched it, and it's interesting. I didn't know you worked for Star Magazine. I knew you worked kind of in that area, but I didn't know Star Magazine. So you obviously had that world where you know, celebrity gossip, and I find it interesting that you went from doing relationships to now combining the two, which I think is so freaking smart. So was this the first video at around 8 months ago, the Kardashian drama, that you made that switch?
Yep. It was, right below, if you scroll down past Jordan, that was when it started. And it was like, oh my God, people are obsessed with Kylie. And it's like, this was such a no-brainer in a way, because working in the industry I did, like, people wanted constant content about celebrities. That's why the Daily Mail did so well, is because they are getting articles up like every 15 minutes, you know, because people don't like their lives, and people are bored at work, they're bored at school, they need constant stimulation so they're not alone inside their own thoughts. And so it's like, if I can give them more than just like, here's a picture Kylie posted, you know, or like, they broke up. It's like, I'm going to keep you there inside this fantasy world of celebrity that you want to be in, but I'm going to enrich your life, and there's something we can get from it other than just like the idle gossip, which like doesn't really last that long. And it's like, I can't advance that conversation in a super meaningful way. Like I don't have Kim on speed dial.
Yeah.
Maybe someday.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's like, well, how do I tap into this huge thing that everyone wants to hear about, but actually make it a little bit deeper, a bigger bite?
Yeah. So, like, did you just come up with that idea? Because you had been uploading content for a little while. What spurred that thought? Was there anything specifically?
Yeah. Just the whole Kylie, Tristan, Chloe drama. It's like I was talking about it with my friends, and I was like, and this is Kylie's psychology, and this is Jordan's, and blah blah blah. And then I'm like, oh, okay. It's like you want to when we're giving our friends advice, it's always better to impart advice via a story. You know, that's why church is effective. It's like, here's the story of Jesus and how he did. And it's like, I've never cared what the subject matter of that story was. If it was a tortoise and a hare, if it was an apostle, if it was Kylie Jenner, like it's still imparting wisdom. So it's like, oh, I can reach more people. Yeah, by tying in someone they already know so much about. I don't have to be like, well, my friend Becca and blah, blah, blah. It's like, who the hell is this?
Yeah.
But they're like, oh, yeah, Kylie, I've seen this. Like they already have a template for what that behavior is. And so then they can extrapolate the lessons so much easier.
And when you created that video, did you have a feeling when you uploaded it, you're like, I think this is going to do good?
I thought it would do like okay, but I didn't think it was going to do that well. No, not at all. Not at all. And then the J-Lo narcissism one, like I'm so fascinated by psychology, and especially abnormal psychology, like narcissists and sociopaths. Like I could talk about it all day long. I do for a living. Yeah. And so, you know, I didn't think that would do nearly as well as it did. Yeah. People, they love that one. They love that one.
Okay. Yeah, well, I mean, who doesn't love J-Lo too?
And I love her.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it's like you take like narcissists and then J-Lo, and because it's very interesting. You're taking psychology and combining the two. I think it's genius. When I first heard about your channel, I looked at it, I'm like, oh my God, she is so smart. Like, hello, I don't even know, is anybody else doing this?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I mean, don't start. Please don't start.
I know. You know? I mean, your channel's out there. I mean, that's the thing about YouTube. I mean, you're getting a lot of views, you know. So
yeah.
But nothing can replace you. You know, the person behind
it.
Right? So
that's what my mom says.
Yeah.
I'm inclined to agree.
That's why it's called YouTube, right? Someone could try, but it's like you can't copy the original. So okay. So then it started so you uploaded that first Kylie video and it didn't look like you went back. It looked like you're like, this is it. Like I'm sticking with this format.
Works. Yeah. I did maybe like one video where I didn't tie it into celebrities. I was like, nope. You know, because it's what people are Googling, and more people are Googling Kylie than they're Googling dating advice, you know, and searching that on YouTube, because YouTube is essentially, it's a search engine. So like, what are the top hits? And when you look at it like that, and you try to divorce yourself from too much idea allegiance, you know, like I truly care about dating advice. It's like, yeah, Kylie and Chloe and whatever, they're the vehicle to get that message across, but like, whatever. But like, you got to go where the sales are, and that's what people are searching. That's what they care about. And they give you like an endless amount of content, like all celebrities. It's like, you're never going to run out of celebrities. You're never going to run out of interest in celebrities, because people are always going to be so fascinated by that whole group. So yeah, people have an insatiable appetite. It's insatiable. For that. It really is. I mean, you know that by working at Star Magazine. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so at this point, how are you coming up with each new video topic? Like, what's your process?
It was hard because like I was so used to reading the news from like an editor's standpoint of like, that's not interesting enough, like that's not a big enough name. But then I'm like, no, you need to look at this from like a psychologist standpoint, you know? So digging into things and just what was trending, I was really trying to stay, you know, I would almost look at like the smaller news sites, like not like Page Six is like small, but they really only capture the very biggest news story, you know, in terms of celebrity. Like Page Six, it's not like this random British reality star and this Big Brother so-and-so. It's like just the big ones. And so those
the universal, like everybody knows them, everybody cares.
Right. So I kind of started there. And then, I mean, I did sort of kind of run out of like, not out of topics, but just I'm like, I'll see a headline and I'm like, I don't know, guys. But then I put it out to my followers on Instagram and they love to give feedback. So that increases my engagement rate. That creates like, my group is called the Shallon Entourage. And so that makes them feel very heard. And I write back to them and I repost them. And so it creates this brand allegiance.
Yeah, which is huge. I mean, it's all about a community.
It really is. It really is. Because you have to not only be like a journalist or whatever your niche is, a makeup artist, you have to be a celebrity in your own right. Like they have to come back to hear what you specifically have to say about something, how you specifically talk in the video and do the makeup and whatever it is. Like they have to care about you, and they care about you if you care about them. Oh,
100%. So, you know, you were on YouTube for a while, and now it's like, you're like a full-fledged YouTuber. You know, this is your career, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Considering how long you were on YouTube, was there anything that surprised you that once you got to this point?
That it is a full-time job. It is a full-time job. Like I was working really hard as an editor. I have been an editor since I got to New York, basically, and I wrote 2 books. Like I filmed a TV show while I was doing it, and I've never worked this hard in my life. Like it's a constant hustle. It's all fun, and it's all stuff that I'm organically interested in. It's cool, except for the tech side. We know this.
Yeah.
But it's a lot, you know, like people want to be an influencer, they want to be a creator, and they just see that, hey guys, we're here at my beach. You know, they don't see what goes into this. Just even getting camera ready for something. I don't look the best, but you know, like that's not something people normally do when they go off to work at Panera or Verizon or whatever. Like they're not doing that. The brand partnerships, like the back end analyzation, like all of this stuff, you just have to keep your eyes on everything. And it's, what surprised me is like, I shouldn't say it surprised me, but it was like kind of a splash of cold water. It's like, there's no boss at the end of the hall to go and ask. There's no IT department. Like there's no mentor. There's no coworker. Like you are on your own. And so you have to really figure everything out. And so like, this is not for the lazy.
No, it's really not.
It's really not.
Like, it's like people, it does look like a glamorous life. Like, oh my gosh, she's just like flipping on a camera and like she's in her bedroom, like chatting about stuff she's interested in. But that's part of the whole reason why I have this show is there's, and you know, my listeners, they know, like you guys know how hard it is. And that I always tell people like influencers are some of the hardest working people.
Absolutely.
Because it's kind of a nonstop thing. It's like the content creation, like it's not like a one and done thing. It's like a constant amount of creation. How often do you upload?
I try to do 4 a week.
Oh yeah. So 4, yes, that's a lot. That's a lot.
It's a lot. And then I also answer questions personally, like via my website, shallonlester.com. Like if people have a love question, they want to talk one-on-one, they can submit a question there. So I do like, I don't know, 150 questions a week. It's a lot.
Is that free or do you charge for that?
No, I charge for it. I charge for it. It's $25 a question. It's not a ton, you know, but it's, you know, that's up.
Yeah. And you do relationship coaching as well.
Yeah, that in that sense. I don't do like long-term relationship coaching. Maybe I'll get into that one day, but I like to just do it kind of in bite-sized morsels. You know, I mean, I don't know if you've been to therapy, if any of the listeners have been to therapy, but it's like you can go to therapy for years and just kind of only make baby steps. You should still go to therapy. Therapy's wonderful. But like I try to just be that like power shot, like get in, get out, fix your issue, almost to make myself obsolete.
Might
not be a great business strategy.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to ask you. Like, is your goal ultimately to become do you have like a therapy background or any credentials for like relationship coaching, or is it just something you're really, really passionate about?
I was a psych minor. I was a persuasion major and communication major. So I can talk and I know about the mind sort of, but no, I'm not a doctor. I never claimed to be. Like I always say, I'm big sister, you know, I'm the girl. I'm not like the military historian lecturing you in a hall. I'm the general who was in the trenches with you, you know? So like I've been through all this stuff, but scalability is sort of like the next question. Like it's going to get to a point probably sort of soon where it's like, I can't answer all of these questions. So, but the big dream is to have a TV show that's kind of like Dr. Phil meets TRL, where it's a girl gang. We talk, we fix problems, we objectify hot male guests. The dream.
Yeah, I can see that for you for sure. I mean, you do. I mean, it's like I think it works because your ideas are really good, but you're also really riveting and dynamic with this topic. Like, you're passionate about it. You speak really well about it. So that's why I was wondering, like, does she have a background in this? Because it seems like you do, because you're just so well spoken, and the ideas that you come up. I mean, I was watching your videos, like, just really interested, and I was like, I was wondering what your background was, but it's, and that's the thing, that's a beauty with YouTube, because a lot of people have this sense of, like, oh, I'm not qualified enough, or like imposter syndrome. And what I always say is, like, you know what? Just the act of you creating that content and doing over time will make you the expert.
Right, exactly. And you can keep advancing your knowledge. Like, the only books I read are psychology books. The only shows I watch are like Dr. Phil and stuff like that, and like Martha Beck and lectures and sermons. It's like, that is my education. And I'm like, maybe I should go back to school. I'm like, no, I'd have to slow down my content. I'd rather keep connecting with people and keep living and keep learning outside of a classroom and bringing that knowledge to the inside.
Yeah, 100%. And so do you, when it comes to, I know you talked a little bit about your video topics, but you look at different news sources, and is there anything else that you look at? Are there any other, like, SEO aspects of it? Or is it really like what's hot in the news? Do you have something to say about it, and then you push it out?
So my manager sends me a list of weekly trends. And so he'll send me the things that are trending right now, like festivals that are coming out, movie releases, CD releases, stuff like that, like big events, like festivals, the VMAs, whatever. So that's really helpful to kind of get ahead of things, like 5 things we can learn from every basic bitch at Coachella, stuff like that, like how to avoid being basic, and you tie it to Coachella. And so the day that comes out, that's what everyone's searching, and that's when you have the video hit. But yeah, now at this point, I'm relying a lot on my subscribers, like, for them to suggest things. And they're always now tagging me in, like, e-news posts, or like a post that Selena Gomez made, like, what do you think about this? And I was like, okay, great. Like, that's our topic. And I'll have them vote. I'll do bracket systems. If, like, Shawn Mendes and Camila Cabello are spotted, like, doing that weird Frenching video, I'm like, okay, submit to me your topic ideas, and then we bracket it down, and they vote, and people love to vote. Love to vote with things. Not for government elections. Don't worry, no one's voting for their city councilman, but they're voting for my videos on YouTube.
And where are you doing this? Is this in the community tab on YouTube, on Instagram, or where?
I do it on Instagram.
Okay.
I should do more on the community tab, but I'm just such an Insta person, I like the interface, and I'm trying to drive people more to Instagram to get those numbers up, so I always say, if you want to vote on a topic, head to Instagram.
Got it. So, who is this manager? Like, how do they find you? Like,
I don't know how they found me. They're magical. So I'm signed to Studio 71. I don't know. Have you heard of Studio 71? No. They're the big kids in the yard, from what I understand. They rep Logan Paul, Lily Singh, like they have, I think, like 400 clients worldwide. They're pretty pretty small. Oh yeah. Like my old MCN, I was with BBTV, broadband TV, and they had like 10,000 clients.
But that's like, there's a difference between like a network and like a management company, so because a network is just like a whole bunch of channels, and it's a different system. Oh yeah, you were with them.
Yeah, I was with BBTV, and, it was fine for whatever. I had some good audience development, like Skypes. Those were really helpful. But my management team now is like my manager. He has 10 clients. I'm one of them. I have a merch team, a podcast team, a graphic design team, like legal team. So it's really, really nice to feel like there's other people helping me along. Like, if I have a sound issue, like I was saying, like, who do you go to if there's something wrong and you don't know how to fix it? And like, I'm not techie like that. I'm not graphic design oriented. So I'm like, oh, and now I have like someone who's got my back. So that's really nice. Really,
so when you say you have like a podcast team or merchant team, are these people actually producing your podcast? You send them the file and they do it all?
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And so they found me, like right when I hit 100,000, like 100,002. Yeah. I got an email from them. And they're like, hey, we want to sign you. So I was like, okay. Yeah. Great. I was in.
And then you've been happy so far.
Yeah.
That's great.
It's an adjustment, like getting used to a team and like just having someone that you can rely on. Cause I'm always like, am I bothering you? And he's like, no, like push back, ask questions. If you don't like something, don't approve it, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, oh. now
That's great though.
With power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With power. And it's good too, because they're finding you brand endorsements and things like that. And then you don't have to deal with all that.
No, I can. Yeah. They're like, what brands do you not want to work with? I'm like, the NRA.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, other than that,
bring them on.
Bring them on.
Yeah.
For sale.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing though. That's how you make your money as an influencer. Yes, there's AdSense, but the reality is that it's okay. You know, it's not for the amount of work that you do. It's like AdSense it's pennies. It's cents.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So that's
sense.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like a lot of people are like, how do I find a manager? And like most of the time, from almost all the people that I have talked to on this show, the manager found them.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. That's true. It's and it's unfortunate. It's like I wish I had better tips to give people.
Yeah.
But you know, one of my friends, he has 900,000, probably hit 1 million by now, and he has never been part of an MCN. He's like, I'm not giving my money to anybody.
Yeah.
He's like,
no, I know people like that too.
I learn. Yeah. And he's just like, if I didn't know how to do a podcast, I learned. I didn't know how to do it, I learned. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that.
And that's the thing. Exactly. Like it's fine either way.
Yeah,
like some people, I know people, I have good friends that have almost 1 million subscribers or whatever, and they don't. And I have a lot of friends like that. And then I have friends that do, and they say it's amazing. So it depends on what you want. It depends on, you know, and some people have a background in business and negotiations and stuff, where they have a significant other, a spouse, or somebody that can help them with that, you know? And other people don't. So it's kind of like you have to go. And if you're in that position where like, do I need a manager or not? Like at this point, my advice, this is always my advice when people say, hey, how do I get a manager? Create content so that you grow your audience so that they find you. Ultimately, that's what it is. Because a manager is only going to make money if you make money. So if
they see you as a cash cow,
they will come to you. But if you're not at that size yet, it's just not worth their time. So yeah, if they see you as a possibility of being someone that can make money, then they're going to want to work with you.
Absolutely.
So okay, so do you pay attention to your analytics?
Yes, but I probably am not paying attention to the right ones.
Okay.
Like, it's easy to get caught up in like subscriber count and like view count, and my manager's like, it's watch time. Like watch time is like a huge metric, you know, and my watch time is 12.5 minutes. It's good. And so that's what I'm trying to like really, really focus on, and get that up. But you know, it's like, well, how do I do that? So, you know, that's kind of the next shift. It's like, I'm just used to looking at like, are people subscribing? But it's like, well, are they watching for a long time? What's keeping them there? Do I need a shorter intro? Do I need longer intros? Blah, blah, blah. So yeah, I'm trying to do that, but analytics are kind of confusing for me. So, but that's a weak spot. I need to definitely work on that. I need to work on it.
Well, look, here's the thing. I mean, okay, I'm going to pull up your videos. These are, let's look at your more recent ones, not your most popular, but just like your more recent ones. And let me share the screen so people, if you are listening to the podcast, we are now on YouTube and you can visually see what we're doing. So, I mean, the thing is though, okay, you got 184,000 subscribers. This is one thing I was noticing. Your views are amazing. I mean, you're consistently getting at least 100,000 views a video. Except for this one. This one was only 15,000. Chat with me. Need some dating advice on career.
Yeah, that was just a little promo for my website. Okay. So that's like 1.5 minutes. So I didn't put that up for the views. Didn't think it was even going to do well. That's better than I thought. But
all these other ones, I mean, 100-something thousand, 135, like 102, 104, 130, 227. I mean, your views are really, really good. So it's kind of like, well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right.
You know? So, and so do you take a look at your click-through rate? Is that something you look at?
No.
Okay. So you don't know what that is.
I've heard of it.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I think this is actually like a good lesson for people, because this is what I say all the time. It's like a lot of people, there's a camp of people that is fixated on this idea of like really knowing like
Yes.
all the analytics and studying it and doing the nitty gritty. And the thing is, and there's a whole bunch of people that don't. They're just doing their thing and they're creating content. And you're in that camp.
I know. It's hard to do everything.
That's what I'm saying. It's not bad. It's working for you. My whole point in showing the views is that you have views that people that have 1 million subscribers aren't even getting.
Thank you.
You know?
Yeah, so I'm hoping that this is going to translate to 1 million subscribers, and then I can have the team handle those analytics and keep an eye on things. They're like, hey, your click-through rate is going up or down or whatever, whichever one is good. I don't know.
Yeah.
And, pointing me more in the right direction.
Yeah. No, definitely. And then your videos are kind of long-ish. Like,
I try to keep them at 20 to like 23 minutes.
And
people, they want them longer.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. I'm like, really? But that is literally as long as I can talk before my brain starts to crap out. Like, because I don't have notes, I don't have a script, I don't cut. This is like, I just think of the topic and then I'm like, we're doing this. And it's exhausting. Like afterwards, I'm like,
yeah, I know.
I feel like I've run a race,
I can imagine. Yeah. And so you don't prepare for your interviews? You don't write notes, you don't think about things, you don't write things out?
If it's a very complicated topic.
Not your interviews, I mean your videos. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or if it's like, if I'm doing like a list, like 5 traits to learn from narcissists, like I'll write those, just like those down. But I find if I rehearse too much or like think about it too much, like I spend the jokes already in my head, and I spend the examples and then I get in front of the camera and I'm like, I don't know. It's like I've already, I'm a one-shot wonder. Like I have one thing to say about something. If I use it in rehearsal, like it's done. Yeah. So, but it's exhausting. Like I wish I could I've tried to like book studio time and then bang out 10 videos and it doesn't happen. Like I max out at 3 at the most in a row.
Okay. But right now you're filming at your house, right? Or like in your bedroom?
Yeah, I film at my house.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, this is my parents' house. But usually I film in New York, in my apartment. And when I've had studio space, like I'll go to the YouTube studios. My subs don't like it as much. They're like, we like the big sis vibe. You're on your couch and it's like we're just sitting across the couch talking to you, I was like, thank God, because the studio was a schlep.
Yeah.
It was like a hassle. It was like,
great.
Great.
Setting all your equipment up and all that. Yeah.
So I think just doing what's authentic is best. Like if you're a big studio, lights, camera, action kind of person, great. Like that's your vibe. But like it isn't mine. And thank God, because I'm so lazy. So hopefully this will just keep on working in the chill fashion.
Yeah. And it's interesting because there is now with YouTube, it's definitely more advanced than it's been in the past and like 5 years ago. And there is a little bit more competition. People are used to seeing higher production value. Yes. However, there's still people like yourself that is like coming on and just like taking off, doing that old fashioned sitting in front of your bed and chatting. Like, why do you think for you it's worked out like that?
I think it's almost retro. Like, I don't mean it to be, but I have my subs tell me, they're like, I really like the low sort of production value because it's more accessible. And like, if I'm talking about things like, here's why you should break up with a fuckboy or whatever, like they want that accessibility. It's like, if I'm too slick, then I just seem sort of detached from the message that I'm giving, and it lowers my authenticity and it lowers my trust aspect, Yeah. And I think also we have the rise of like mukbang culture where people are watching these because they're lonely. They want to connect with someone. They want to feel like they're talking to a friend, a sister, an aunt, or a very young aunt. Yeah. Just is only a few years old. Yeah. So, an aunt that could be a sister. Yeah, exactly. Who could easily be a sister or simply a friend. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they really like that accessibility aspect because that's kind of my vibe. So hope it's working for now.
Yeah, and I think that's interesting. That's a good point. It is, especially because the topic that you're talking about is so personal, and it's like you're not a doctor, you're not a therapist, so you're not going to be in like a therapy room or whatever. You are, like you said, you're that best friend, that sister, big sister giving advice, and it makes sense in that environment.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they really like it. And then they feel connected to me, and that increases engagement. And they feel, especially because I have the business aspect of them being able to reach out to me. It's like, people, if you have a big slick production, they're going to be like, well, is she really going to answer? Is this like an assistant who's answering? Is this a bot? It's like, no, girl, it's me, and my answers are exactly like my YouTube's. Like there's no real filter. There's no wall.
Yeah.
So it's been a business strategy that's kind of worked, and it's worked because it is authentic, you know.
How long does it take you to answer those 100-something questions a week?
Lord,
that's like, that sounds insane.
I spent about 10 minutes a question.
Yeah.
I try to keep it to like 5 to 7 to 10 minutes, but you know, I get gassed up about something and I'm like,
yeah.
You know? But then it takes like an emotional toll. Like, it's not that I physically tire out. I'm like, and my boyfriend would come home and he'd be like, I had a bad day. I was like, okay. Because it's like my empathy reserves are like gone.
Yeah.
So it's hard to keep that wall between what's going on with my people and me, because I mean, they come to me with really, really intense things, really intense. I'm like, oh my God, like this guy was blackmailing me for nudes, and last night he broke into my house and raped me.
Oh God.
It's like, how do you forget something? I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that for the rest of my life. You know, and like that ruins your day and your week and your year. So it's hard to put some boundaries. Yeah.
I'll be interested to see what you're doing like a year from now with that, because I don't know if that's sustainable. Actually, I don't think that's sustainable at all. And especially not for $25 a question, you know, that just seems
I know.
Like it's a lot. And as you grow and you grow, and I imagine there's probably the same kind of, you're probably giving the same answers to a lot of things. Like there's certain questions that's like, there's probably like 10 different responses that you have that probably you can address to a lot of the questions.
I try, and it's like by the time I tried to do that, where it's like I could copy and paste things, and by the time I look for it, I was like, I could just retype it, you know. But it is, and it's funny. It's like so much of the advice I give, it's already in my videos, you know. And but people don't want to hear it. It's like they need to be told directly. It's like being a personal trainer. You know what you shouldn't eat, but when you have someone who's like, "Don't put that in your mouth," you're like, "Yes, Gunther." You know, then you're gonna like listen. You
should create some kind of course or ebook or something like that. Like
that's the next step. I'm trying to write my third book in December, January. I need to just like go away for a weekend and start beating it out and outlining and everything. Yeah.
That's crazy. So what made you decide to do 4 videos a week? Why that number?
I don't know, because I was trying to do Monday, Tuesday, then take Wednesday off, and my podcast is up on Wednesdays, and then do Thursday, Friday. But it's like there was so much celebrity news that it just warranted it. And it's like if you just wait 3 days, sometimes 2-3 days, like the wave has crested and then the news cycle has started. It's like people are still interested, but if you can really capitalize on that trending topic, like within 24 hours, it's so different. So I'm trying to hit it hard for as long as I can. And my friend who probably just hit 1 million, he's like, yeah, I did 4 videos a week for 2 years, and I gained 800,000 subscribers in 2 years. And I was like, okay, let's do it. Yeah. So I'm sort of like following his weird blueprint, like for no reason. Yeah.
You're like, okay, it worked for you.
Yeah.
But I mean,
also respond very well to peer pressure. So when my subs are like, we need a video on this, I'm like, okay.
All right. You're up to like 4 a.m. So, so that's my question. So, okay, you see an idea, or your manager sends you something, or you're looking, you're like, oh God. Okay. So what's that time period where you're like, you see the idea, you're like, I got to do it.
I try to get it up. Like I put a video up last night on like Haley Baldwin and Selena Gomez and their feud, and I got it up by like 11 p.m. And so like the news like broke, like I kind of heard about the news in the morning. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go like have my day, film it for whatever it is, get it up by night so that people in like the West Coast are still up and talking about it. People in Europe, if they're night owls, are still like up a little bit. So I try to turn around within like 12 hours. Like if I hear of a trending, I try to get it up that day. Yeah.
Have you ever been late for a trend? Either you uploaded too late or you just didn't upload and you missed it?
Yes. I've missed something. I missed something recently. I think I like blocked it out because I didn't want to deal with how bad I missed it. Yeah. It's like you can't catch everything. And someone on my Instagram chirped me the other day because I posted about Meghan and Harry in their documentary, and they're like, I can't believe you didn't cover the Jeffrey Epstein story and the Prince Andrew, and you covered this instead. And I'm like, name a single journalist or a YouTuber who covers every single story, even every single story about a certain niche, every single royal family, every single Kardashian. It just doesn't happen. And like,
you're like a one-woman show.
I know. I was like, well, since you have so much free time, why don't you start your own channel? You have time to chirp me. So like, I don't play. Like when people chirp me.
Yeah.
No.
What do you call it? Chirp me?
Chirp. Like I played hockey for a lot of years, and that's like what they call it. Like someone talk shit, they're chirping you.
Oh, I've never heard that.
Oh yeah.
Kind of like it.
So I didn't take it on the ice, and I don't take it on the internet.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you have to. You got to.
You have to. This is your territory. If someone like, it's so easy for people to do that on the internet. You know, they're little Twitter fingers. But like, if someone came to an office and you found 500 sticky notes talking trash about you on your computer, you wouldn't exactly turn the other cheek. You know, that would get to you.
Yeah, of course.
So you got to defend your territory sometimes.
Do you deal with haters a lot with your channel?
Yes. Like the Shallon entourage is strong, so they repel a lot of borders. But yeah, like celebrity stans, like the Selena Gomez super fans, wouldn't wish them on anyone. They're such a pack of lunatics. And it's one thing, you know, people can disagree. Like that's the whole point. And it's like, we're talking about celebrities. Like, who cares? This is not life and death. Yeah. But it's just sad when people come and they're like, you don't like Selena Gomez. I'm like, that's not the point. Yeah. She's just a vehicle for the information. My lesson. For the lesson. And it's sad that that's what you chose to localize on, but we can't save everyone.
So what do? Do you just block, ignore? Is it your tribe that's kind of getting on them?
Yeah. Oh, they'll come for people. They're like piranhas. They leave just the bones. But I'll only like block someone if they're like, go kill yourself. You're the C word. Like, get a life. And I try to have certain words just filtered out like already so that they don't even like show up on the channel. But sometimes my usual strategy, probably shouldn't say this, but I will. Yeah. But like if someone really says something inappropriate, like I will come back at them like just with a vengeance, and I'll pin the comment. Like I always say that, like, I'm an Italian woman, my family's Roman, and we would crucify people along the Appian Way, the road into Rome, for a reason. It's a warning. Come here and mess with Rome, and this is what's going to happen to you. Oh my God. So that's what I do. It's like, I will come for you with the fire of 1,000 suns, and I'll let everyone see it.
Oh my God. I love that. So
you
pin the comment. Yeah. You're not gonna if it's a different opinion, I get it. But if you're being a total disrespectful jerk, then you kind of have it coming.
You gotta have and you know, part of me is I don't do this often because people like that, they want attention. You know, they want to feel like they're relevant. And some people just 99% of the time it's like, whatever, you're a sad person. I don't care. I'm making money off of what I do. You're not making money off of standing Selena Gomez. Yeah. So I kind of win this round. Yeah. Oh my God, that's hilarious. Okay, so we're at the end of the interview, and I have a list of questions that I ask everybody that comes on the show. But I forgot to print out the list, so I'm gonna just try and memorize some of the, see what I have from memory. But I feel like we touched on a lot of the things that I ask, anyways. So if you were to start over on your channel today, what would you do differently? I would hire a graphic designer to come up with great thumbnails, a great banner. Like, looks are everything. You know, if you have a professional look, like aesthetically, you can get away with pretty crappy content. Yeah. And I would study analytics and SEO. I would learn SEO, and I would get graphic designers for sure.
Do you use a graphic designer now?
I do, but not for this. Like, he designed my website, but now I have the team. They're just coming up with a new thumbnail design. So I really am hoping it's going to look slick and awesome. Yeah.
Cool. Very cool. What is the biggest mistake you've made on your channel?
Probably exactly what I said, which is chirping back at people.
Yeah. Oh, that. Why is that a mistake, though? I mean, did something happen from that, or was it just you don't like, you don't think it's a good look, or? It
just gasses you up, know, and it's like your positive emotion is like any other currency. You spend it, and at some point it's gone. And
that's true. And then you're wasting it on this tool that's like a, Selena Gomez fan. You're like, well, why?
Right. And I feel like I've also been unfairly harsh towards some celebrities, so I'm trying to like be a little bit more fair and balanced.
Why? Do you know stuff about them?
I know like a lot of dirt, but like, you know why? It's because people have started talking trash about me, and then I'm like, it's like, oh wait, can I dish it out but not take it?
Yeah,
I should be a little bit more self-aware. Yeah. So yeah, it's like when you see like someone does an exposing Shallon Lester video, and you're like, your heart like leaves your body. It was actually a really sweet video. They're like, we love her. And I was like, okay. But it was enough to give me pause. I'm like, okay, this was a good warning shot. Like,
yeah. That is one thing I noticed when watching your videos. Like, you do have some, like, you're a good storyteller and you have some good stories. Like, there was one that, like, you're in the back, you know, like, Saturday Night Live, and some guy, I forget who it was, like, made out
Harry
with you.
Styles.
Yeah. I was like, it was a good story. And I was like, oh, like, so you have, I don't know if you have that in all your videos, but you have some interesting kind of run-ins yourself as well. So it adds to, I mean, makes sense now knowing that you're a star reporter, but it really adds to this whole thing. You're not just kind of like someone who's removed, who's a fan of it. Like, you were literally like working in that industry. Yeah.
Like, I've seen things with my own eyes. I've dated a lot of people, and, you know, I've been in the trenches, like big sis. It's like, but when I've dated someone who's taken, like, oh, they were taken by, you know, a model, you know, and so it's like my stories are relatable, but they're just maybe a little like turned up.
Yeah.
Yeah, just turned up. So I think that hopefully makes it a little bit more interesting to watch. But the Harry Styles fanatics, I've got a target on my back because of that. But
yeah, because I saw a lot of people in the comments who like, she's totally making that up. I was like, it didn't really sound like it. It sounded like, why would you make that up? You know, well, like,
and it's funny if I'm like, oh, I heard from a friend of a friend, blah, 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 about Harry Styles. Like, I believe, but I'm like, oh, this happened to me first person. They're like, liar. You know? Okay.
Yeah. You're like, okay, whatever.
Okay,
I mean, that's the nature of the game, you know?
It is.
So what is the best decision you made with your YouTube channel?
I think starting my website.
Okay.
Because then it's a place that I control. It's not based on trends. I can have whatever content I want on there. You know, if like my subs keep asking for like sex advice because I came up with the kissing videos, and it's like, that's not going to fly on YouTube. They're going to demonetize things, whatever. It's like, that can be just the hub for the Shallon Entourage, where we can connect in such a more one-on-one way. And I can really curate that experience for my people. So that was a great investment. And I think that was really crucial.
So no, you finish?
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, what is it though? Blog posts? Is there like a forum in there? Like, what do you mean by, I was going to try and pull it up too. Is it Shallon Lester?
No. Yeah, it's pretty simple. It's a place that they can submit questions, you know, because there's nothing worse than when you're in pain and you want help and you're just like shouting into a void, like in the comment section, or you don't know how to connect with someone that you feel like could help you. And so it's like, now I have just a complete direct bridge to my entire following, and it's like, it's so nice. It's so nice. And I have I think I just put up a little quiz that they can take to see if their social media is like in the right place. No. Oh my God. This asshole bought one of my domain names and makes this fake site. He's this bald bitch. Yeah. No, don't even look at it.
Okay. So wait, what's your website?
ShallonLester.com.
Shallon. Oh my God, that's like the first thing that comes up though. Is that cheesy fake website?
I know.
Oh my God,
I want to find that man. I think his name's Brad Barrett. Clown. You're a clown.
Oh.
Like, sorry you can't come up with your own website and you're cosplaying as a girl. Weird.
Yeah.
That's me.
Okay, that seems more like you. Like that's you.
Yeah. That's me.
Yeah. Okay. About me, shop, binge, your YouTube, get help. So, yeah, that's great. That's great.
It's simple.
Yeah, and you own it. That's the thing. You own it. You can do what you want with it. You can, whatever. So that's awesome.
I think it's important to have different streams. Like if YouTube shut down tomorrow, if Instagram shut down tomorrow, you have to have your finger, you know, like really out there doing a lot of things, and it's tiring, you know. It's a full-time job, and it's like another thing I have to do, another thing I have to learn, you know.
That's when you start outsourcing, though.
Exactly.
You know,
I have a great designer. Yeah,
you have to, and like I agree with you. You know, there's like this mixed thing where it's like if you're just starting out, I know a lot of people like I'm here, and they're just kind of like not really anywhere. But like I feel like there is a certain point, like maybe 100,000 subscribers or something where then you really have to say, okay, how am I diversifying? How am I capturing this audience? Is it through email? Is it through a website? Is it through somewhere else? So before we wrap it up too, actually, you briefly mentioned the fact that you have a podcast. What happened there? What made you decide? I mean, your content is almost kind of podcasty. Like, I kind of, do you have your episodes on a podcast? Because I would totally listen to those episodes on a podcast, or is it different?
That's what everyone kept saying, because I know that YouTube is hard to consume. You're like driving, you're walking, you can't shut the browser, and they're like, do a podcast. And I was getting so many questions from girls that I'm like, oh, I wish I could share this answer, but it's not like enough for a regular video. So my podcast is kind of like a Dear Abby. I answer the best questions that my viewers submitted over the week. So I do like 4 or 5. They're short form, and I read their question, I give the answer. And yeah, I just started to put it online. The first visual podcast is going on YouTube tomorrow, but yeah, it's on all platforms. It's called Girl on Top. So it's just like kind of different ways to consume the content.
What do you mean visual? Visual?
Like how you put this podcast on YouTube.
Yeah.
I don't know even what it's called. So it's going to be, the podcast is now not only on podcasts like audio forms, it's going to be visual as well.
So you're going to do a video podcast on iTunes and stuff. Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be on YouTube, but then you can still listen on podcast platforms just as if it's audio.
Okay. Kind of what I'm doing. So you have the so you have a video component to it. So is it a separate channel, or are you just putting those videos on your channel?
I'm just putting them on YouTube because it's good, because then you can, if you're trying to sell ads against your podcast, the views on YouTube count towards the plays on the podcast. So that was something that was recommended by my manager. So I was like, okay.
Yeah, but so no, my question was, are you having a separate podcast YouTube channel, or is it on your? Okay, all on the same. Okay, very cool. And when did you start that?
I only started the visual component like 2 weeks ago, but the podcast I've been doing, I think, since June.
Okay, weekly.
So it's relatively new, but it's, people seem to like it. I have an endless supply of content because I have an endless supply of questions. So yeah, it's nice to give girls like real hardcore advice without mixing in the celebrity stuff. It's like much more distilled.
Yeah. All right. Last question. What is the best opportunity you've received as a result of your YouTube channel?
Press trips, for sure.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Tell us more about that.
So that was basically the reason I stayed in journalism for as long as I did. I was getting so many free trips, Jamaica, Ibiza, Italy, blah, blah, blah.
That's amazing.
So I was really excited. Like when I left my job, by choice, let's say it was by choice. Like I was like, am I never going to get another press trip for the rest of my life? So when I got offered my very first one through just to cover it for YouTube only, I'm going actually on my second or third, but yeah, I went to the Caribbean and I was like, this is amazing. Like I was like, I finally made it. This is like a thing that's possible, like I can actually live the same sort of like lifestyle
that you're
as
used
an
to.
editor. Yeah. So travel is the thing I love. So I really want to start adding that more into the channel and getting that kind of angle going.
So tell people like what that might not be familiar with that world. What is a press trip, and like what were you doing like with your YouTube channel on these press trips?
So a press trip is either a brand or a location or a board of tourism. So this was for Orangetheory, and we went to Boca Raton. We were in Florida, and they fly you down there. You're with another group of journalists or influencers, and that's where their headquarters were. So you like go on a sailboat ride, you stay at this really nice resort, you go to the Orangetheory headquarters, you do a class, you learn about it. It's kind of like a giant infomercial on a vacation, like those two things combined. I went on a trip to Italy over the summer, like on a cooking immersion. Like that was incredible. So, and then either they want you to write about it or post about it, and you work that out ahead of time, like how many grid posts, how many story posts. And some people are like, we want 75,000 grid posts. We want you to write about this for the rest of your life. We want in-book in a magazine. And other people are like, yeah, if you want to use a hashtag, that's great, whatever. Like sometimes they just want to fill seats to like make the client happy. Like, look, we got all these New York City
influencers. Yeah.
Right. And they're like, okay. And other times they're like, no, we need a kidney from you.
Yeah.
So it really varies. Yeah.
So that's what I was going to ask you. What did Orangetheory want from you, like in this case?
I actually was able to partner with them. Like I do this series called a challenge, and it's like a self-improvement thing. Like I did one on meditation, I did one on vision boarding and manifestation. And so this is going to be like a fitness challenge. It's going to come out soon, where I'm challenging my viewers to like work out either at Orangetheory or whatever makes sense for them, like 3 times a week. And we can like check in with each other. I have a Reddit subthread, the Shallon Entourage, where they can like talk about things and we can connect that way. So it's all just about bringing the subs together and like increasing that community.
That's very cool.
So Orangetheory is really excited.
That's awesome. That's a cool idea. So how did you get that opportunity? Was that through your manager?
No, that this is where the journalism thing came in handy, just because I know publicists in so many different places and I've worked in journalism for so long. And people know that if I say I'm going to cover something, I mean it. I'm not just going to take a trip and dance off into the sunset. That creates a really bad reputation really quickly in media. So when I told people I was transitioning to this thing, they're like, okay. And I was like, honestly, I have a bigger circulation than Star Magazine. Sorry about it. So, but some people are totally gang for the influencer thing, and then some brands are very old school and they want the print magazine, and you're no longer useful to them. So it's quality versus quantity, I guess. So hopefully it will get to the same level where I'm traveling constantly.
That is so cool. Traveling is it too. I mean, I'm with you on that. That's amazing. And staying in nice places and 5-star everything. I mean, that's the dream. All right. Well, Shallon, thank you so much for coming on the show. This was so fun chatting with you and learning about your experience. And so for people that don't know where to find you or kind of want to check you out, where should they go?
So my YouTube channel is just my name, Shallon Lester, and you can connect with me on Instagram at ShallonXO, and I let you vote on video topics and weigh in and tag me on video ideas and everything. And you can also listen to my podcast, Girl on Top, out every Wednesday, every place you find podcasts. And if you want to talk to me privately or have a love question or a one-on-one session, and shop my merch, you can also find me on my website, shallonlester.com.
Awesome. And I will link everything in the show notes below here in the video, and comment below what you learned from this episode. Is there anything that you took away, anything that surprised you, anything that you're now inspired to do?
And I promise if you don't like something, I won't say anything mean.
Yes. I won't be pinning comments like that. Yeah, but that is the first time I've ever heard that, and I think that's awesome, So I think that's hilarious. All right, Shallon, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.